So things have actually started pretty well for us this season. We may not be top of the league, but we weren't expecting to be at that point this season, and I still think that that's really a bridge too far for us. Our main concerns concern ourselves with Europe. And of course, yes, we didn't get into the Champions League, but we were bloody close to getting past Porto, and I really do feel like had we managed to do that, we could have got to the group stages, and I don't think we're that far off from being able to do that, maybe next season, with just a couple of little signings. But that doesn't mean that we don't still have the exciting Europa League, particularly with us being drawn in a group with HJK. Now, if you know something about me, you know I don't like them, and I'm going to be out for revenge today. If you have been enjoying the series up to this point, do drop a like on the video. It absolutely does help out the channel a load, helps people find the content, so that would be fantastic if you could do that. If we could get 300, that would be gorgeous as well. Now, today, we start things off, well, actually, would you believe it, in the Europa League. At home against Borussia Mönchengladbach, the butt of all the puns on stream, they usually are. So, I mean, really, this group, it feels like the type of group that heavily will hinge on what happens when we play against Gladbach, which is just so happens is exactly what we're going to be doing today. As much as HJK were the top seed in this group, I still feel like we're better than them. But then that could just come from a general sense of superiority over HJK. Cluj are a bit of a no... We just don't know what to expect from someone like Cluj. And Gladbach, with German sides in Europe, I find, it can be very sketchy. Sometimes they're amazing in these lower levels, and sometimes they're absolutely horrendous. So hopefully, we're going to get the horrendous one today. In other good news, all the players now that were complaining about leaving, the likes of De Belder and... It was mostly De Belder and Jokanovic. Both of them have shut the hell up and have decided that they actually do want to stay at the club now. So that should hopefully sort out any potential morale issues they had. De Belder still isn't perfect morale at the moment, which is kind of odd. He's dissatisfied with it. Well, I'm sorry, Aaron, but, you know, get over it. Yeah, that's fine. I just didn't want to have Okoye starting in the DLF role, not when we can have Carlson there. But I think that's what we're going to go with. This has been an interesting test, particularly with it being the home game. And there's one thing this tactic does well, it's home matches in Europe. I love it. They have a player whose name is Oliver Fries and Jan Storm and Julian de Kock. This is a good team. One thing I forgot to check was how Gladbach actually arrived at this position. Like, did they qualify for the Conference League outright, or did they drop down from a higher competition? Because if it's qualification outright, then that might actually mean that they're not the strongest of sides, although they have tried to match us somewhat with an extra player in midfield. That's worrying. What it also apparently means is that we're never going to touch the ball ever again. I think we've got like 23% possession in this match at the moment. We have only had the 10 minutes, but one thing they are doing a very good job at the moment, Gladbach, is just holding onto the ball, and that's something we quite like to do. But as long as they keep launching it like that, finally allowing us a little bit more space. Carlson to Pritchard. Now here come the runners. See, that's one of the things I noticed about this tactical shape sometimes. Sometimes we'll get the ball into the striker area like this. You'll have the overlapping runs, but often there's nobody sat to actually retrieve that ball and fire the ball over the top. I do wonder if actually... It's an interesting thought about what you could potentially change were you to move forward with this tactic. Maybe just having... Someone actually mentioned this to me, that the idea of a third midfielder in the centre instead, but one that isn't on such an attacking role that can sit there and spray passes about to the others. And I do wonder if actually that might make quite a lot of sense. Because the more that I look at it, the more I feel like you do kind of want a guy there that's not going to be pushing forward quite as much, that's going to be able to pick those passes out when the ball is dropped back to him. Because very often the ball is dropped back to a centre-back instead. But it's a thought that I wouldn't mind pursuing perhaps, and making a second version of this tactic, just to see if we could test that out, maybe in a cup match, and see if it's as effective as I potentially think it could be as the ball is drilled over the bar there. Yalanen. Because in those positions, we're fine. Once we're actually in the build-up like that, it's all good. Cloti pulls it back for Ibule. Oh, it's not gone across the line. Insanely, it's not gone across the line. Ibule, he can pop one in here. Carlson was so good and patient from these areas. Bruno Gomez, Yalanen, and it's 1-0 to Sunioska. Konsti Yalanen, 1-0 to us. Bruno Gomez with the assist. That is a really nice goal. Patience, lovely stuff. 1-0, and this is a big goal. Cloti has lots of support this time with Ibule. No, lovely little stuff. Go on, George. Have a bend on it. Oh, yes, it's in. I thought I hit the bar. Georges Aboulé, Sunioska 2, Gladbach 0. We are absolutely destroying Gladbach in this game so far. This is exactly what I wanted. What a finish from Aboulé. Well, I mean, half-time. Whatever I was saying about this way this game started has very much evaporated ever since then. We've absolutely played them off the park. Opening 10 minutes, they had a little bit, and all their shots were in that 10-minute period, but it's just been all us since then. Another key thing to remember here, of course, is that every win in the Europa League nets you over £500,000. So that is a huge incentive for us, because technically there's £3 million on the line just in the potential wins that you could get in this group if we were to go for a perfect group, which of course I feel like it's unlikely. But I still think we could probably get towards, you know, the 13, 14 points type of margin. Maybe not 14 points, but there's definitely a lot of money on the table for us. I think we could definitely at least earn over £2 million from the group stages, which we very much need, because our wage budget is starting to get a bit out of hand as Ilsa to the byline, whips it through. No, Pritchard pulling it across. Could he turn a sister for once? It's Yalanen, back to Pritchard. Wow, we've got everybody in the box here. Ilsa. The other thing that I think it might help was, well, if we had that central midfielder that was sitting a little bit more, not on a defensive role, just as an attacking advanced playmaker, but on support in the midfield instead. He might sit more like here and give us one more option there when balls are cleared, as well as just allowing an extra option when everyone else is already in the box. Could he find someone? Abula could pop another one. Oh, he's hit the post again. Jukanovic finds, wow, that's really nice football, actually. Oh, is there a play on here? Carlson. Williams. Where's his international teammate? Pritchard! It's a good save. Can we talk about how Benevento are in the Europa League? And not only are they in the Europa League, they're beating Leicester City. So we can try and build ourselves into a team that could get in the Champions League and then could start to hopefully challenge FC Copenhagen in a couple of seasons. That's really the play. Carlson. Jalonen. Oh, such a bad pass. And there it is. Sunirska 2, Gladbach 0. Absolutely fine with that. Absolutely played them off the park. Second half kind of waned a little bit, but they didn't have a single shot in the entire second period. In fact, I think their last shot in this match would have been in like maybe the 12th minute of the game. Maybe not, it was probably after, just around the time of our goal as it goes, actually. So still, very, very strong performance. Jalonen was excellent. So was Gomez, actually. Really strong performance. But with HJK winning away, they technically do go top of the group. And maybe they are actually going to be a bit of a task for us. But we do play them very much next in Helsinki. So, okay, this is fascinating. So literally, that was what I was thinking. The only change would be to move the advanced playmaker from here to here so that there's just a guy that doesn't move as much. And I do find that if there's one player in our team that often has weird games from time to time, it is the advanced playmaker, because he just doesn't, unless he's taking set pieces, he can go missing in matches from time to time. And I think that's because when he sits in that pocket, there's not always space. So it might be worth trying out, potentially even in the next game. I don't know about that, but it might be worth a go for us, perhaps. Gorda to Silla. Here we go. Runners beyond. One of them is Stephen Okoye. He's through and he's scored. It's OB 0. Sunirska 1 with 10 men. We've just had a red card for John Diaz, but it doesn't matter because we take the lead. I've had to mix up the tactic massively, but we do lead. I think we're going to be on the end of quite a... Oh, dearie me. Now we've conceded a penalty as well. So it's not been an ideal day for us so far, as Mustafa steps up for OB and slots them level. We've had a red card and now conceded a penalty in the first 36 minutes. GG, lads. Calm it down. Honestly, in the end, getting away with a 1-1 draw actually isn't the worst result in the world for us. We did get a bit better towards the end of this game, but, you know, when you're down to 10 men, there's not a lot you can do. John Diaz just decided to 2-foot someone after 22 minutes. We did get the equal, well, the leading goal as well, but it kind of threw all my tactical plans out the window, and we already had a weakened side out there to begin with. So it was not ideal. Luckily, our rivals at least dropped points too. So at least we had the benefit of Norgeland, who equalised in the 97th minute at home to Vile. Are you joking? I thought they were losing. That kind of sucks. And also, FC Copenhagen dropping points at Ranas. So at least it means that our gap to them doesn't actually change. And with Silkeborg losing 2, it's not too bad. Midtjylland finally win a match as well. So there you go. I did actually start our new tactical idea in this game, but we didn't get much of a chance to see its progress, honestly. Well, now we get a week off. Hopefully bed that in a little bit more and maybe try it for the next game. Still not sure about it, honestly, but we will see. Progression will be made. Williams goes near post. Carlson's header, and it's in this time. We've hit the bar twice in the first 15 minutes, but Frankie Williams has put it on the head of Chrissy Carlson. 1-0 to Sunirska. Graverson's delivery. Oh, and it's an immediate equaliser. Tommy Nielsen straight up the other end. AGF find the equaliser. That is a little bit annoying. Ping long again. Flicked away, and oh my god, they've won it. Oh no, well won. Oh, come on. Not another slide tackle assist. Johannessen's through now for AGF. Are you joking? What? These never used to be... Oh my god, it's 2-1. That's 2 slide tackle assist goals we've had this season now. I thought these were gone. The byline he goes. Back ball in, and... Are you kidding me? Are you actually serious? They've had like 3 shots. Okay, well, I've switched to the other tactic in the second half because we were doing nothing. Yeah, so I don't know. I changed the tactic at half-time back to our normal one. Didn't make any difference as it goes because we still ended up conceding. We conceded every shot on target today. In theory, I like the idea of that change, but it doesn't actually seem to work in the match engine. And that kind of sucks because that should be what's happening there. But unfortunately, something else just doesn't seem to work properly when you don't have that guy setting further up the pitch for whatever reason. We just created nothing in this match, unfortunately. Yeah, he was getting the ball, but they weren't doing anything because no one was making the runs anymore. It was worth a try, but that is frustrating now. That's 2 games we should have won that we didn't. And of course, the worst thing, of course, is we lose even more ground to FC Copenhagen. We now sit 8 points behind them. That's dead. Now, because of them beating Norgeland, we do still stay 3 points behind Norgeland, but we could have gone above them today. And this is the problem. We just have to go with what we know. Maybe we could revisit that tactical style another time, but it didn't look great for me in that game or the first 20 minutes of the last game before we got the red card either. So I think we've got to go with what we know for now because we can't jeopardize our position for random tactical tryouts at this point. Maybe in some cup games I'll test it again and see what it looks like. Pritchard's making that near post run. Gomez is into the box here. Tons of bodies. There's just no room to find that cross, and now there could be some room potentially. Nope, we've chosen against it. Back for Gomez. He's gonna have to shoot for a crowd of bodies, and he's actually scored. Bruno Gomez, HJK 0, Sunirska 1. Bruno Gomez. That is some through the eye of a needle. Stiller once more. Carlson on the end of it, and he's scored. Finally, he's hit the bar 3 times in this game. He now finally does bang one home and is into double figures yet again. Big up Chrissy Carlson. It's a completely open man at the back post, and it's surely an equal. It was not an equaliser, but Helge Bruland, I'm fairly certain used to play for Mulder, gets the goal, and they're backing it out of nowhere. In the end, actually a pretty tight game, but HJK 1, Sunioska 2, the Gomez and Carlson goals absolutely saved us. In the second half, HJK genuinely turned it on a little bit. It wasn't enough though, and we get the away victory there, which is massive for us. 2 out of 2 in the Europa League as well, gives us the group lead and the away victory at probably our toughest rival in this group. That is a huge statement. We still have to go to Gladbach, so that's going to be interesting too, but all is going well for us, I'd say. And obviously Gladbach beat Cluj 3-1, so it's still not over. You know, this group is still up for grabs massively between us 3, but we now get a couple of games against Cluj. We could really be out of sight potentially with the final 2 games to go. After the HJK game, Kalle and some of his staff were invited to meet the bigwigs at the club. Everything seemed very relaxed and jovial. That was until Kalle noticed the name on the office door of the chairman, ULRIK Humayevi. Initially, Kalle thought nothing of it. That was until he was introduced to the man, and there, on his forearm, was an onyx wasp tattoo. There was a sinister flicker in Ulrik's eye as he returned to the group. Kalle left the ground, feeling chilled to the bone. Long ball downfield, easily cut out by Turnerson, and we can go again. We're looking solid so far. Gomez, is there a run? There is. It's Joe Pritchard. He's through on goal and he's scored. And I think that's onside. Sunioska 1, Brøndby 0. Joe Pritchard finally grabs another goal. We really needed that. Uh-oh. Valgerson down the left-hand side. Don't you dare throw this away. They've done nothing in this match. It's going top bins, isn't it? Or bottom bins, Wang Xin, with his first goal of the season for Brøndby, and that's their first real opening of the entire match. We just can't win. We just can't win. Is there a slip through for someone? We have to turn this into a victory. We can't go 3 matches without a win. As Pritchard's shot is squeezed in at the near post. Joe Pritchard, massively important one. His 9th goal. All of them have been in the league as well. Not 9, sorry. I think this is 8th in the league. Well, there we go. And you can see how annoyed I would have been had we not won that match, given the situation we'd put ourselves. And we absolutely destroyed Brøndby in this match and just couldn't seem to get the result and the scoreline going. And then we could see that goal. Oh, my goodness. But to see Joe Pritchard, for the 2nd time this season, score more than 1 goal in a match is extremely key. And that's his 8th goal of the season in the league. And he's not started every league game either. So he's already got 2 more goals this season in the league than he did in the whole of last season. So there's clearly, we're seeing improvements out of him. He's not really scoring in Europe for us at all. He's got 1, I think. But at the very least, he's still scoring in the league, and that actually does really matter. What matters even more than that is that Nordsjælland lost at OB, which means that we get a chance to leapfrog them. Unfortunately, an 87th minute winner for FC Copenhagen means they do maintain that 8-point gap, but at the very least, we are still... That gap that we had over the teams just below have really started to tail off a little bit. We were in a great position. We should have beaten... Well, I don't know about should have beaten us. On the night, we should be playing and beating Odense, and we definitely should have been playing better than we did against AGF, but that was a bad tactical decision from me, and us conceding every shot on target. We've definitely waned a chance to pick up a few extra points there, and we could be a lot closer. But as things stand, we're still doing okay, considering we're managing Europe as well, and we, of course, have played, you know, got 2 wins in the Europa League too. We do have a little week off now. I think it might be an international break. Not entirely sure what it is, but needless to say, it's a well-needed rest on most of our squad that aren't on international duty. Knocked it down, and Berger Hansen could bring this out of the air. It's a poor touch, though, but he might still be able to make a run, potentially, if he can get into that channel quickly. Ilsa. Yallen. Now he's going. Steamboat. Oh, could he win a shoot? This would be massive. Oh, what a tackle on him. What a tackle at the death there, honestly. That's a huge tackle. But it's still not out the woods. What? Oh, hang on. Williams! Yes! Sunioska 1, Nordsjælland 0. This has been a dreadful game. Steinberg Johansson should have scored there, but Williams could come up with a massive goal right there in a huge game. Come on! Tomados, ball in. Oh, God, it's all over the shop here. No! For goodness sake! Can we not hang on to a lead for more than 2 seconds? Yes, we can. It's disallowed. Nice. By golly, did we need that. It wasn't the best game. We really kept Nordsjælland quiet, though. Up until that, like, this little bit here, they'd had 0.7 XG up until about the 70th minute of this match. Absolutely mentally good defending from the guys. Jokanovic was astonishingly good, and Caron did a decent job as well, even though he didn't have to make many saves. But Frankie Williams coming up with a huge goal, and back-to-back wins in the league from a point like this was actually really, really needed, particularly beating Nordsjælland. We now go 3 points above them, and FC Copenhagen drew, so the gap would drop back to 6 points. I'll level with you. I wasn't expecting that result for us today there, but that is extremely timely, to be fair. Cutting the gap back to 6 points, moving 3 points clear of Nordsjælland. Midtjylland still struggling. They have won another game, but they are still right down there and literally have half the number of points that we do at this stage. So I really don't think they're actually a threat to us, and it really is, I still think by the end of the season, going to be a top 3, despite OB sneaking their way in there. Nobody can really put a run of form together that's good enough to really challenge the top 3 sides currently, and Nordsjælland have slipped off a bit lately too, which is very helpful for us, as we just need to get our heads down now and start getting some wins together and try to really close that gap. But Silla throws another cross crossing. We've been very much on top in this game so far, but we just can't seem to find the breakthrough. Pritchard, and now we have Joe Pritchard, 10th goal of the season for him. He levels up the tallies with Christopher Carlson, his second goal in the Europa League. He's definitely having a really solid season for us. This would allow us to 9 points as well, and we go 5 clear as Carlson now heads one home. Is anything you can do, I can do better. 11th of the season for big Chrissy Carlson. 2-0 up, and Cluj just don't look competitive at all. Pops it up for Terry Cloty. Can he find that cross? Silla, Carlson, slips it into the near post. Wow, he really has woken up today. It's 3-0 in the first half. Carlson's 12th goal of the year. He has just been lightningly good in Europe this season. I think that's like 7 goals already. Well, all's well that ends well. Sunioska 3, Cluj 0. Very, very comfortable. First half absolutely killed this off, really. Those 3 goals in 13 minutes just destroyed them. They had nothing for us. They had a red card in the second half too. Not that it made much difference, honestly, but that's 3 for 3 in the Europa League. Very, very good. And we get to go, I think, away to Cluj next in the second live comment today's video, where we could potentially have 12 points after 4 matches. We're making big money and, well, we're getting dangerously close to qualifying. Main disappointment was that HJK actually won away at Gladbach. Now, it helps us in terms of qualification, but if they'd drawn, we'd already be 5 points clear of them with 3 matches to go and already in a great spot. Now, we could practically wrap up qualification nearly in the very next round of fixtures anyway. And technically, it could actually. If HJK beat Gladbach at home and we beat Cluj, we'd actually be qualified with 2 matches to spare. But we still have to battle HJK for the winning spot, and I do want to make sure that we win this group now that we've put ourselves in this position. This is fantastic. Yeah, 0-0 in the end was not quite what we were looking for in this one away at Ranas. Ranas are a decent side, but I think we could have done better. We had some great chances in this one. Pritchard went clean through on goal and just blazed it over the bar. He just has this sort of rush of blood to the head sometimes when he's through on goal. Very frustrating. Pretty even game in the end, though, but still disappointing not to win and keep that momentum going. It's still a good clean sheet for Carroll. And a defensive display was pretty solid, but, you know, with Nordsjælland winning 5-0, it would have been nice to keep that momentum up as they do now move back into the battle with us again. And obviously FC Copenhagen continue to win, pushing Midtjylland that much further down the table. They genuinely might well be. I always thought that they'd eventually just pull themselves together and get into the championship group, but they're actually in a bit of a precarious position. They're 7 points from it. There's only 9 games left in the preliminary stage here. They may not actually qualify for the championship group this season, which would be brilliant. Don't get me wrong. Their squad is still good. Boulet again. We're going to need something a bit special here, and Carlson is going to provide something. It's 13 for the season. It's another one for him, and we needed that. This game has been a really poor one so far, but just getting the win here is big for us. I mean, it's a 1-0 victory again, which is great, but it's the fact that so often, and I've noticed this generally speaking with FM22 as a whole, we have so many opportunities that we create in matches, but it just seems that set piece occasionally, that's the only way we seem to be able to score half the time, despite going clean through on goal repeatedly over and over again. But that's just life sometimes. Luckily, we do manage to get the victory. We're still looking pretty good, but we are starting to underperform a little bit once again. Still sticking a good run in there, got the result in the end, and defensively fantastic. And even better news, of course, is once again, Copenhagen drop a few more points, so the gap comes back down to 6 again. Obviously, Nordsjælland still with another fantastic victory. Keep their train rolling, but we do still stay above them. We're still hitting the 2 points a game margin right now, and I feel like we can... I don't think we're going to get as many points as last year, honestly. I really don't. But we may not need them. That's the hope anyway. And Esbjerg winning away at Orby is big for us because it keeps those two fighting each other rather than really gaining ground on us. And that's kind of quite important to us. Midtjylland do take a step closer, though, with a 5-0 trashing of Vejle to get a little bit closer to that championship group. I still think they might well sneak in. So I thought we'd just quickly check in here. And you can see that, really, not a lot has changed on that one. We've sort of evened out on the goal scoring front, and you can see that is evidence from the last couple of matches. We just haven't been able to quite do enough there, and the goalkeeping side of things has been a little bit suspicious. Most of that, though, admittedly, came from the AGF game, where every single shot on target was a goal. Unfortunately, it's an outlier. It does happen sometimes. I still think we're on the right track at the moment. We're doing a decent job. We're right up in there. You can see there's a massive gap between us top 3 sides and everybody else in there. So really, I think over the course of the season, we'll be in and around that top 3. The question is whether it's second or third. Hopefully it's going to be second, but Nordsjælland do look like a good side, and that Frankie Williams goal was massive. Thought you guys might be interested in how Lee Dilly's getting on at Chelsea, our former player that we had at Tromsø, and at the moment, well, I mean, he sort of actually did have a good season in the Premier League for them, but he still doesn't seem to get a lot of game time for Chelsea. It's kind of mad that they've still not loaned him out since then, because when they refused to loan him back to us, he made presumably, a couple of substitute appearances for Chelsea, and that's kind of it. Despite that, they still want 70-odd million pounds, and he's still on 165 grand a week, whilst barely playing in the Premier League. And he's 27 now. Lee, I honestly think he could have been a mad good player if he just left the club, but nope, Chelsea hoarding strikers, imagine. But today, Cluj away, HJK host Gladbach. If they win, there's a really good chance that we could just qualify today, which would be really, really good. Not entirely sure exactly what our lineup's going to look like, but I can guarantee it won't involve Cloty or Ilse, who are both suspended. Oh, good God. I'm probably going to put João Victor in there, since he is a right back. That's kind of the point of him. Carlson and Okoye, obviously not happening. Pritchard does need a little bit of a rest, but we need him out there today at the moment. We just need his goals. And put Gomez on the bench as well. That's going to have to do for us with Williams and Gomez in the midfield. Silla picked up a slight knock in the last game, so that makes sense to drop him out. Frankie Williams, I've actually really enjoyed enjoyed him this season. You notice that a lot of our other players, for the likes of Gomez here and Ibule and Pritchard and even Carlson, honestly, they just have, generally speaking, some good games and some bad games. They're very inconsistent with their performances, whereas you'll notice that Frankie Williams they're less standout performances from them, but he never seems to put in like absolute stinkers. They're usually like, he's still put a 6.8. He'll still be above the average. He'll still gain rating. And I like that in a player that seems to just be able to generate rating in matches. We have a huge opportunity here for us. If we win, it's 12 out of 12, or 12 points from 12, possible 12 in the group. In addition, there's a chance that we could qualify today, or even a draw. Honestly, I think a draw in the other fixture might even be better for us, because it would start to mud HJK a little bit more, and the more gap between us and them going into those final fixtures could be really, really important. Now, admittedly, we do still have to play them in the home game, and I think that's what we've really got on our side. The win against HJK at home, should we get it, that's not a foul, right? Yeah, would be, I think, the one that would allow us to win the group, and there's a lot of money on the line for that. But I want to see if we could actually go and do 6 for 6 in this group, because that could be nearly, well, over £3 million. We'd then gain the extra 800k. There's about 4 million on the line if we were to actually go 6 for 6 in this group. And also we get to skip around of the Conference League or the Europa League knockouts too, which would guarantee us probably close to another £1 million just in prize money as well on the end of that too. So a really good season it would be financially for us if we could just do this, but it doesn't matter because we're trailing here away at Cluj. Oh, good God. The goal is awarded. We trail in Romania. Well, screw that. We need to pick our asses up here and get something going. Last thing we need right now is to throw it away in, well, not the easiest game in the group, but one of the easiest games in the group, I would say, particularly with how dominant we were in that first leg against them. We need to turn this into like a 3 or 4-1 victory in the end. That's what I'm hoping for. But I just settle for a victory. Georgiou, good tackle, comes back to him anyway. Another good tackle, comes back to him anyway. I have a horrible feeling I know what's coming here. And, well, good save from Carroll. They're throwing a lot of long balls forward, and they are actually winning some of these aerial battles, and I don't really know what we can do about it, other than maybe switch around some of our centre-back positions to put Jukanovic in the middle, as it's now going to be nearly 2-0. I'm going to switch them over. Jukanovic is the taller of our centre-backs, much, much taller. He's got better jumping reach, and I want to have him up against their tall guy in the middle when they launch that ball long, so we don't keep getting caught out with balls like that, and hopefully that'll allow us a bit more freedom now, as Gorda's been fouled. That's not in the box. Not really got a lot of support out wide. Joao Victor is one of them, pops it in, and Carlson's header, well saved by the keeper. That's more like it. For Williams, can he turn and find it in? Oh, it's a great header again from Gomez, but it's wide. Right, let's test this now. As Lakshu's ball downfield. There you go. Jukanovic wins the header immediately. Now, admittedly, it's gone straight back to them. At the very least, we're winning that early ball now and not having to worry so much about them beating us in the air. And it has... Oh, well, that was poor, but we definitely look better in that area, at least. It's got it back. God, I wish we had Terry in a game like this. Williams, ball in, and God, it's such a good ball, and Carlson couldn't quite get there. Joao Victor pulls it across, and it's a lovely finish from Frankie bloody Williams. He scores important goals for us this season. I really like him as a player. It's 1-1, and we deserve that. Lasku again. They're trying the same trick, but Jukanovic is just winning it every time now, which is perfect, as Carlson's now in behind. Keeper's not really off his line, but it doesn't matter because it's 2-1. Yep, I think we made the right tactical decision there. Carlson comes up with, well, what will hopefully be the winning goal in this match now. Lively play from him getting behind 2-1. Were you worried? I was a little worried, I must admit. They've still started. They had 2 really good chances right towards the start of this game, but since they had that second chance where they hit the post, they've not had anything there, and it's been all us for the rest of the half, even if we haven't had a load of chances. But we really did ride our luck early stages, but I think we've got this under control now. I'd like a third goal, though, just to settle the nerves a little bit here, as Gomez picks it up in a good position. It's not a bad ball in either, as Boulay heads it over the bar. Good news, though, is with the draw in the other game, as things stand, we would be qualified at this point, and we'd also be 5 clear of HJK with a home match coming up against them as well. So we'd be in a really strong position to win the group, potentially even with a match day to spare, as a Boulay's header is wide. Williams again to Gorda. Back for Williams, he drives it in, and it's headed on goal. Pops one out for Joao Victor. He's a little bit tired, but he has no stamina at all, so that's why he only plays every other game at this rate. Pritchard, Okoye over the bar. Frankie Williams, what a pick out that is for Joe Pritchard. It's a tight angle, he's going to have to turn provider. Joao Victor, and it nearly deflects in. We are actually seeing a little bit of a late flurry here from Cluj. Nothing super dangerous so far, but they are at least having some little pot shots, some headers that we're having to deal with. They're putting some dangerous crosses in. That's miles offside, and a good save from Corona either way. And that looks like it is going to do it. Cluj 1, Sunioska 2. We spotted the issue, fix the problem, and we look to be getting ourselves another win in Europe, and that is 4 out of 4 in this group. Really, really big result. You can really see the way they started this game off, but once we got those 2 goals, put ourselves in front, they did have a little bit of a flurry, and we kind of just tailed off a little bit when we got the result. They actually made that harder for us than I was expecting, to be fair. But the best news is that it's HJK 0, Gladbach 0. It's good for HJK as well, but it really does help us, because now we are qualified out of this group. We currently sit 8 points clear with 2 matches to go, and a 5-point gap now to HJK. In addition, we have to play them at home still, so there's still a really strong chance, I think, that we could potentially go 6 for 6 in this group, which would be really, really good. Like, beyond what I was expecting, and all that extra cash is super helpful. Also, less fixture congestion after Christmas as we get to skip around, get to skip straight to a higher prize pool. Good news. And that is, of course, what we get to deal with next time out, as we've got some league matches in there, including FC Copenhagen, but we also have the issues of course, Gladbach away, which will be still difficult. I still don't think they're great, but that's still going to be tough. And, of course, HJK at home to hopefully wrap things up. But of course, we'll also have the winter period where I'm genuinely concerned this time that the board might start getting handsy with our players and might start selling them. I know it hasn't happened so far at SecondYellowCard, but I just have this horrible feeling that that's what potentially could happen no matter how much money we earn, because we are very sailing close to our wage budget at the moment, but that's just one of the things you've kind of going to have to do. Yeah, after that little bubble, we certainly picked it up again a little bit, but yeah, that tactical idea, I still think there might be something to that, but it just did not work when I tested it, and we literally cost ourselves 4 points by doing that. But there you go. If you have enjoyed this episode, and I hope you have, drop a like on the video. That would be bloody fantastic. That would be gorgeous. I stream on Twitch Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so go follow the two. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys very soon. Hold your gun. Capybara. Bye-bye.